morning, I'm Frank Powers, and this is Lifestyle Tucson, the program where I speak to our neighbors, the people behind the scenes of our amazing organizations, small businesses, and nonprofits. Our friends are informing you how they serve our community, and they are here to give you updates on future projects. Let's make some old friends today. Now, you might pass them on the street with your eyes down, refusing to meet the gaze of the man on the corner begging for money. Perhaps you feel something like compassion, but not enough to bring you to action. It can be an uneasy moment because most of us don't know what to do. There can be fear in approaching someone on the street, and sometimes it's just easier to ignore them than to act. Did you know that only 18% of homeless are considered chronically homeless? For the rest, their situation is only temporary. And it's only temporary because of people that I'm going to talk to today. And I'm fortunate to speak with Lisa Chastain, CEO of Gospel Rescue Mission. Lisa, welcome back to Lifestyle Tucson.
Thank you, Frank. It's good to be with you.
I appreciate having you back. Everything I just read is directly from your website. I didn't make that up because it was so well written and it's exactly what you're all about. And I do want to focus on homelessness today. We've talked in the past. You can find that episode of Lifestyle Tucson with the Gospel Rescue Mission on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. Worth listening to the 101 of what your organization is all about. Today, let's focus a little bit on homelessness and what your organization's mission is when it comes to fighting homelessness. So what I just learned is that only 18% of homeless are considered chronically homeless. So I want to talk about what that means, what it means to be chronically homeless, because a lot of them are temporary. It sounds like a low number, which is good. It gives me a little bit of hope.
Yeah, so it depends on your definition. A lot of people have a different definition of what chronically homeless really means. Usually it's tied to a statistic and data related, but certainly anybody who's on the street for a long period of time is chronically homeless, in our opinion. Anybody on the street, period, could be considered chronically homeless. But Tucson is a transient city for homelessness. You know, we do collect the data information from people if they're new to Tucson or if they've been here for long periods of time. And we have both, frankly. We have both that are there. But we do see a lot of transient people through Tucson because of our weather. Not this time of year, of course. But for the most part of the year, you know, you can live outside for, you know, a good 8 months out of the year. And it's a great place to live outdoors if that's your choice. But we want to see people off the streets and successfully living their lives. Yeah, I mean, that's the truth. Because a lot of people, when we talk about homelessness, you might not realize that some people it's just temporary. It's a transitional moment. It's a single mom that might have to sleep in her car just for a little bit. You're trying to help her. You're trying to help people that are in between jobs. Right. People that are living paycheck to paycheck, where a disturbance in that can really knock down a lot of things in their lives. Sure. So helping people in both situations is what your guys are doing. And it's really important. I have a list of the top 5 reasons for homelessness, and let's just dissect some of them, right? So lack of affordable housing is one of them. Tell me about some of the problem with housing that people are dealing with. Yeah, and you hear that all the time, you know, lack of affordable housing. We need more affordable housing. Well, that certainly relates to people who are subsidized, right? So those that need assistance with paying for their rent, Section 8 housing, et cetera. And we do have 100 of those Section 8 housing units on this campus of the Center of Opportunity. But that is not the answer. That's not the sole answer to the homelessness crisis in Tucson. A lot of the people that we get in housing after they leave our program, only 50% of them are subsidized. Okay. So once somebody is able to get gainful employment, that they most likely can pay a rent, you know, but we're giving them the tools on not just getting a job, but how do you keep your job? Yes. How do you make it a career? How do you get a promotion in your job so that you can actually end poverty in your life? What would that look like? Well, that would change generations of, from if you make that kind of change in your life. So affordable housing certainly has something to do with it, but not entirely.
Right. Poverty was the next listed reason. What is the difference to you between poverty and just the lack of affordable housing? Because both those just sound like money troubles.
Sure, it is. You know, poverty is money troubles, right? Tucson, what is it, like 25 $5,000 around that is the level of poverty line. And if you have a household that's making less than that, you are living under the poverty line. Consider yourself in poverty.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I better get more
right?
gigs.
But again, it's a statistic. It's tied to a statistic. But, certainly anybody who can't make their ends meet probably needs to look at other alternatives. So like I said, we see a lot of people, obviously homelessness, there is a correlation with poverty.
Yeah.
And so we deal with both of those issues. We deal with all five that you're going to mention, but poverty is a huge part of why people find themselves homeless.
Yeah. And the next one is unemployment, which again just leads to financial things. Look, money is the problem a lot for us all. Even in my own life, sometimes I feel depressed. It turns out, oh no, that's when I'm running out of cash. Other times in my life where I'm like, wow, I don't have any emotional problems. Oh, it's because I'm gainfully employed. We all just went through a long period where we lost our jobs, we lost our gigs, we lost a lot of our foundation, and it rattled us quite a bit.
Sure.
And that was a big part of it. So money obviously affects a lot, but then it's the other two things that with mental illness and substance abuse, these are probably the biggest obstacles to overcome, I imagine.
Huge. 80% of the people that we see come through our doors are homeless because of substance abuse and mental illness, and most of the time both. So that is the core of what we do. That is the core of what treatment we have at the Center of Opportunity and the resources at Gospel Rescue Mission to try to give people the tools that they need to overcome those addictions. We have an addiction recovery program at Gospel Rescue Mission that's a year-long program.
Mm-hmm.
It's no joke, it's a commitment. But we believe, the 30, 60, 90-day programs really is not enough time to teach somebody the tools and give them a chance to neurologically heal. So to have a year-long process, for the first 2 months, we call it our stabilization period.
Sure. They
They don't even have a clear thought. It depends on how long somebody is used and what their substance use disorder is. But they need a time where they're just in a safe environment where it takes all the pressures off so that they can even have a clear thought before we start to get them in programming and classes and all of those resources that they need. And then after they're done with addiction recovery program, then we need to help them find a job and get them in housing. So they could be with us anywhere from 12 to 18 months.
I saw that. And that is a huge commitment. Again, there's a psychological thing that it takes, I think it's like 6 weeks to have a new habit, right?
Yeah.
To like make a new thing. If you're trying to work out every day, if you fall off, you break the chain within the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're not going to stick with it. After 6 weeks, things become a pattern in your life, and sticking with it is a big part of it. Also, the time that they spend there with you, one thing, and it's a theme of this show, but one thing I did see on your site is they make new friendships. Yeah. And that's a big part of anyone in any version of recovery, because you do have to kind of, in a way, get away from the bad influences and have your own strength. Others can pick you up, but others can drag you down.
That's right.
And that's a big part of it. So having that time to really rebuild a brand new life, brand new relationships, friendships, gaining new skills so that you can move forward step by step. It's important.
Community.
Yes.
We all need it. We were built for it. And as soon as you separate yourself from community, we see it all the time. People might come through our doors. They might go through the recovery program. And when they leave, they isolate themselves from the community that they knew, and they relapse, because we all need each other to have those strong interpersonal relationships that keep us healthy.
Did you know that actually this year, the Surgeon General listed like loneliness is one of the number one epidemics that we're all facing together? And I believe it.
Yeah, look at what COVID did. We saw a spike in our guests that were struggling from mental health as well as addiction because of isolation, because of loneliness, because of COVID isolated us. I think that's why we come on the other side of COVID so unhealthy and starving for relationships and starving for that community because we were so isolated.
It's true. And I even see it in younger folks, COVID aside, just in certain like genres of fandom. Like, because I'm friends with a lot of young folks. I do a lot of things in the video game community. You hear how toxic it can be. It's hard to even make friends in your communities because of the online presence that comes with all the hate that's on there, that it's so hard. And then I meet a lot of kids. I meet a lot of younger folks, and they do have a lot of these social anxiety disorders from being the generation that grew up with social media. We are now seeing it. It's 2023. We're seeing the results of what it is for these kids that are unable to adapt, is really what it is, and gain the social skills that one needs to really be successful.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. But let's stop talking about the problems and let's start talking about the solutions. You've mentioned the Center for Opportunity, and you have 5 programs. So let's go through some of the things I want to go through right now, right? It says the first one is shelter and the eligibility and intake. So shelter guests must be sober and not using any illegal substances. That obviously makes a lot of sense across the board for any organization like yours. Guests are accepted based on bed availability and without discrimination, and your shelter is wheelchair accessible. However, shelter guests must be able to get around and take care of their basic needs and do all that stuff. But you welcome people, and intake is 8 a.m. on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. So that's a big way that you're helping people out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important for people to know that we're open to all people. You know, just because gospel is in our name, we get a little bit typecasted with, oh, well, what do they do? You know, they only serve, the people of faith. They're absolutely not. You know, we are a faith-based organization, but we open our doors to anybody that has a need. And to address some of those things that you said, Frank, yes, we are a sober campus for sure, for the safety of our population, the safety of our employees, the safety of our volunteers. However, if somebody comes to us and they're under the influence, don't think we stop there. You know, we will send them to detox, like we will drive them, or detox comes and picks them up. And we hold a bed, for 24, 48, 72 hours, however long they're in detox, so that they have a place to come, post detox. So we do try not to turn anybody away without a solution. If we're not the best place for them, we are for sure going to find a place for them to go, because, asking for help is a very humbling thing to do. And we take it very seriously to say, hey, this might be the only time somebody comes to us and asks for help. So to turn somebody away in that state, they might not ever ask for help again.
That's really important, because I never thought about what is the next step if someone does show up and they're unable to be helped. You are going to get them the help that they still need from detox, from someone picking them up, you even dropping them off. That's incredible.
Absolutely. And if somebody is, SMI, seriously mentally ill to where they're manic, where we can't bring them in, we will send them to, crisis response center, get them stabilized and bring them back. So the fact that we don't accept all people, but let me tell you, we get people the help that they need. It's never a turn away. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope good luck.
Yeah, good luck
out there.
Right.
So that's why we're connected with so many, all the organizations in town that deal with the level of trauma and critical care that we see from our guests. And if we're not the right place, we'll find them the right place.
That's super important. That's part of that recovery, and that's another one of these 5 things listed. The next is employment, and that's what we talked about, that you might be able to help them get their high school diploma. Taking classes in life skills development and computer literacy, so important, all right? I know some non-homeless folks that need some of that, all right? But learning how to write a resume and how to nail an interview. These, again, skills that I know plenty of people sitting around too spoiled to realize that they got to work on themselves, work on what they do when they are presenting themselves to others to be a professional.
Right. So, we'll take those one category at a time. But if somebody comes to us and they have not completed high school, right, that's a barrier for them to get employment. Let's just be honest. So the cool thing about the partner that we have in our education, which is called Smart Schools, is that we don't give them an opportunity to get their GED because there is a stigma attached to a GED,
Absolutely.
Right? In every single employment form, you see, high school diploma or GED.
Yep.
Well, let's take you out of the GED category, and we have educational advancement through Smart Schools that actually gives somebody their high school diploma. So how great is that? We take the stigma away from GED. They can continue, get their high school diploma, and then they go into workforce development. So what does that look like? That goes everything from job resume to teaching somebody how to search for a job. And we have 2 levels of workforce and development. We can get people the help to get into jobs with the skill set and the experience that they come to us with.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is great due to a year-long partnership that we've had with Pima Community College. We can actually get people job training in the fields of IT, construction-related jobs, as well as a CDL driver's license and culinary.
Wow.
So they get a rapid certification, what we call it, to get a higher-paying job. So they're no longer getting into an entry-level position at some of these fields. They can go, a step above. And again, that lends to getting people out of poverty if they can get higher paying jobs.
Yeah, that CDL is huge. And honestly, anytime I see anyone where they're offering the culinary help to get these folks into kitchens and get them into restaurants and food service, it's such a rewarding job and career. And it can be very creative. I've talked to Gap Ministries, and they have a kitchen where they train, and you can become a chef.
Yep.
And it's so impressive how you can do that. And the people I've met in the service industry with this they're the best people. And you will then find, again, that community, because when you work in kitchens and you work in restaurants, you are in the trenches, as we call it.
You are.
And you make a lot of friends doing it. So it's a great, not just a job, it's a career.
Absolutely. And we, let me just tout our horn a little bit and say that we've put almost 1,000 people in brand new jobs in the last 2 years. That's remarkable. 1,000 people. Think about the stimulation in the economy that actually provides. But as to culinary, we run a kitchen that does 700 meals a day. So we're bigger than almost a lot of restaurants here in town. So we certainly know the trade of culinary, and the kitchen. Let's just say the back of the house providers in the restaurant business is not always the healthiest environment. So we try to teach that, and giving people to be extraordinary in their value system and whatnot, so they can be exceptional employees.
Yep. Get them on their career paths and get them feeling pride in what they do. No one wants to do a job. Jobs stink. But a career is something that you can base who you are, your identity. And I think that's important for some of these folks, is gaining a sense of identity. Because to be able to proudly say with a business card, I'm a chef, or to say that I have now gone through this program, and now I've gone back and I help others, and they themselves work for the organization with a business card that says who they are and what they do. There's a great sense of pride in that. Absolutely. I've always felt it too. When you go from a job to a career, a sense of self-worth is something that I think is always going to fuel you to keep yourself off the street and keep yourself healthy, keep yourself in healthy relationships, keep yourself even fit. Because when you believe in yourself, you can really, I think that's the first thing you got to believe in, if not God in general, right? Let me ask you that. Do you believe in yourself or do you believe in God first?
Well, I can speak to that personally. For sure, I believe in God first.
Okay.
Which gives me the ability to believe in myself, because that I was created in His own image.
There it is.
So
there's the chicken and the egg.
Says,
yeah, and the Holy Spirit's mixed in there too.
Yeah, exactly. So that fuels everything I do.
Yeah.
It just fuels everything I do. Gives me purpose. Gives me the desire to help others. Gives me compassion for those that are struggling. Gives me the, hopefully I can provide hope for those that are struggling, for them to get through what they're going through. So it is at the center and the core of everything I do.
I mean, I'll jump ahead even. The next 2 things were housing, which we talked about, and a bit of outreach. And that's what we're talking about now. But let's talk about what you just talked about. Do you hear how happy Lisa is, right? Do you hear how fulfilled you can get from, again, being kind and helping? You should. And if you're missing that in your life, again, you don't make people do the things you want to do. Find people doing the things that you want to do. So volunteer, because that's what the Gospel Rescue Mission is all about. How can people volunteer and be a part of what you're doing to help some of these folks, but also perhaps help themselves?
Sure. There is a rule of volunteering, right? You go initially to think you're going to help somebody, and in return, you're the one that gets the blessing out of it, way more so than the individual that you're helping. So, I believe that volunteering and helping others is a core foundation of everything that we should all do. Every time I hear from my friends and they're having a bad day, I'm just like, you need to go volunteer at a soup kitchen. Things can be way worse, right?
Yep.
So it gives you perspective.
It does.
It gives you perspective, and therefore you can live that more fulfilling life. But volunteerism is a huge part of what we do. We have about 300 volunteers a week come and give of their special, precious time to give back to the work that we do. And we're so grateful for those volunteers. And, it's not a huge commitment. You can come one time or you can come every single day, for the whole year. You can come for our events. Our biggest volunteer effort that everybody loves to start with is serving meals.
Okay.
So we serve, breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. And the cool thing about what we do at the Center of Opportunity is our core values are love, grace, dignity, and respect. So how are we going to show people that in everything we do? Well, one part is in the dining room where they don't have to go through a meal line or a chow line or a buffet line, but they actually come and have a seat at the table, restaurant style, and all the meals are served by volunteers.
Well, that's impressive.
So isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And it was a lofty goal when we moved in, but thank God, in the 4 years we've been open, we haven't missed one single meal of service. And that's all done through our incredible volunteers. And so that way they get to serve, but they also get to build relationships with the people that we serve.
That's incredible. I mean, talk about literally serving them meals. That's fantastic, right? And if you can't donate your time, remember you could donate money, and you can use those tax credits. Use that Arizona tax credit as a donation. Make sure you don't forget to do that. Always good to do. Now, I want to talk about other ways that people can help. And that's when they are, in fact, like face-to-face with a homeless person, because you have a little list of things to do, and I want to go over it with you. And one way is, it's more like Q&A. What do I do if someone in the streets asks me for money? So it's in our nature to help those in need, and giving a few dollars is certainly a quick and easy way to do that. But instead of giving money, we recommend that you offer one of our invitation cards. So I printed one of those out, and this is something that I've thought about since starting this show, is that I do drive past homeless people. And then every week I'm talking to, Gospel Rescue Mission and GAT Ministries and all these great organizations, the Teen Challenge, all these great organizations that are out there helping homeless people. And I wonder, I'm like, does this person know about this? Does this person know about this? And I'm almost like, I want to make a note that says, hey, I interview a lot of these people. You should hear about these organizations, and give it to them with a bottle of water or with $1. And then on your website, you have that note. You have an invitation with a map and all the contact information, services. I think that that's incredible. And I invite anyone listening to go to your website and go print out that invitation. Keep them in your car, and you might be able to help someone just by letting them know that this exists.
Absolutely. We want to give the ultimate help, right? So somebody in their time of need, we say, hey, and a lot of our incredible donors and supporters carry, bags in their car with a bottle of water, and this time of year, sunscreen and chapstick and granola bars, and they just drop the invitation card in there. So they have everything together, and give somebody, the immediate help that they need, as well as, the long-term help. So like Frank said, you can go to our website, grmtucson.com, and print those out, or you can call our office and we'll send them to you through the mail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the other thing that, Frank, that I want to mention is Pima County, and you might have seen it, but they put these signs up all in Pima County that say, so say no to panhandling, but say yes to helping agencies serving those in need. So I'm so grateful for that, because that really is the where the rubber meets the road, and where people can really get the most help is through the agencies that help the homeless. So I'm appreciative to the county that they're recognizing that we have a little bit of a panhandling crisis, and the money could go to better useful resources.
It absolutely can. It absolutely can. And there are other things to give. because just like you're saying, I never thought to give chapstick, sunscreen, bottle of water, granola bars. That's really good. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Lizzie Mead. She does this. She has Silver Sea Jewelry. She's always taking care of homeless people's pets. She will walk into the parks.
Yeah.
She will just give a little wave, stay a distance, and just put a Ziploc bag of things down because some people, you don't have to engage. They don't want to be engaged. It is about safety and feeling safe for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
So that's another way to do it is doing that and dropping those invitation cards right in there, because I always talk about this with my own small business and with anything, even Lifestyle Tucson. Word of mouth is the only way I will be successful. And word of mouth, you got to imagine, affects the homeless population because they ain't exactly tuning into the television to watch a commercial, right? How are they going to hear about things?
Underground network.
Yes. How are they going to hear about things? Well, you never know. You might give something to one homeless person, and that person might be quite a charismatic individual, and they might get 12 of their associates to your organization, because that's how it works. If you can help a figurehead in any community, they might be able to help the others in their community.
For sure. And, the heat is as unbearable as it is an incentive for people to, get out of the heat and seek shelter. So right now we have about 300 people that are with us right now. I'm grateful for that. That means there's not 300 people on the streets, suffering through the heat.
Yeah.
So we are a cooling station. I know we're not on all the advertisement, but certainly anybody can come to us with no obligation and get in an AC and get the water and the meals and everything that they need just to escape the heat.
Well, that's what you got to do. And the easiest way to do that is just go visit them, right? They're at 4550 South Palo Verde Road in Tucson. And she gave you that website. I'll give it to you again when I do a little bit of a recap, as well as the phone number. Because today we made friends with Lisa Chastain, CEO of Gospel Rescue Mission, helping save lives every day through hope, shelter, transformation. Thank you so much for joining me today, Lisa.
Thank you, Frank. I really appreciate you putting a spotlight on the great work that's being done in Tucson.
Hey, thanks for doing it. This was Lifestyle Tucson. Bing bong bing, time for a recap. I really enjoy talking to the Gospel Rescue Mission. It's nice to talk to people that are doing the things that we all need to be doing, that's helping each other out, right? We all talk a big game. But there's a lot of ways to help. And one of the ways that Lisa reminded me of that she didn't really get to say was outreach. We kind of jumped over that. And that means that if you have stuff that you can donate, stuff like clothing, hygiene products, baby products, dishware, stuff like that, even flat screen TVs, they'll take them. They don't want your old box tubes, though. You can hang on to those. And make sure that you do that by just dropping them off over at 4550 South Palo Verde Road in Tucson. You can go get all the details over at grmtucson.com or give them a call at 520-740-1501. I want to thank our friends at Gospel Rescue Mission for joining me today. You've been listening to Lifestyle Tucson. If you're a nonprofit that would like to be on the show, email lifestyletucson@gmail.com. For more information about this program or to listen to something you may have missed, go to the Sunday Mornings page on klpx.com, kfma.com, mixfm.com, or espntucson.com. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Audible, or wherever fine podcasts are donated. Follow on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Lifestyle Tucson, because I'm your BFF, Frank Powers. Toot Toot Tucson. I love you the most.